Hello, awesome people. I hope you're having a great day today. Today we're taking a look at The Last Command. Is the final novel, the Timothy Zahn trilogy that we've been going back and rereading. That was published in the early 90s that I read when I was in high school from my dad's copy that he bought. That was really popular and very highly beloved by people, and really sort of as a launching off point for the Star Wars literature. And so forth for a lot of people. It adds a lot of people to the canon and so forth. It's very, very fond and so forth. So we'll be taking a look at my thoughts of The Last Command, which is 461 pages long. I divided it into 4 days, kind of like what I did with the previous novel, which was 440 pages long. I did 110 pages average a day, and this time I did about 100 over 4 days, and so forth. It was roughly 2 hours a day, although on the third day, where I read 115 pages long, it was more like 3 hours than the normal 2 hours, maybe a few minutes here and there than it had been previously. I've been blowing through this much faster than I would have thought. This is an oversized, condition. It's hundreds of pages long. Right, but I was reading at a much, much faster clip. Not even normal novel speed, which is like 20 pages a half hour. This was like 25 pages a half hour. I was blowing through this. I was surprised by just how fast it was for me to go back and reread these things. I've been going back for this channel and reading a few things here and there for this channel. As a reminder, this channel's name is The Worst Thing About New Books, a quote by a French philosopher, Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about new books was that they kept us from reading the old ones. And this is an older work that was published decades ago, right? Back when I was in high school and so forth. So I've been going back and rereading a lot of these older things for this channel, and that I haven't read since I was in high school or junior high in some cases, or even grade school in a couple of cases, and then college too, in some cases that I just haven't gone back and reread to see what I think about it now, as an adult with decades and decades of experience and so forth. So let's go ahead and get started with this. What do I think about The Last Command by Timothy Zahn? Well, so as a reminder, I keep my reviews spoiler free, so we'll be doing a deep dive into this for you folks. But generally, I liked it. I thought this was a great way to end it. I thought that the ending itself probably didn't spend as much time as it needed to. It felt pretty fast. Like the last chapter finishes up a lot of things. It's not that long either. Right? I felt like Johnny probably could have spent another 20 or 30 pages doing a deeper dive into it, but I'd rather be ready to say it was too fast, and probably could have spent more time than saying, oh, it was too long. It was bad pace, right? And so forth. But that's really my only negative. So I'm giving this probably a strong 9 out of 10. It's beloved. Everybody loves it. I had a friend, a coworker, when I was in Fairfield, Connecticut, and she started to get interested in this sort of thing, so I suggested she read this trilogy to get started, and she loved it, right? And then she started, doing a deep dive into Star Wars. And I think it's a great place to start. What they did here, I think, is very interesting, because they took a sort of a new opportunity to do a deep dive into this fiction, and rather than casting somebody like a person who was starving for novels or pretty much published nothing, right? They published somebody who's a big name in the genre, Timothy Zahn. I think that's a bigger hit. For example, take it as an example, the Forgotten Realm series by TSR. The first person who wrote was Dennis Niles, who wrote some adventure modules here and there, but he never written a novel. The next person, Ari Salvatore, has some huge hits and so forth with The Crystal Shard. He never published anything either. He was fresh out of college, looking for his first opportunity to get published, right? And so forth. The Dragonlance Chronicles, the first sort of, that opportunity of a fantasy world being seen in print by novel, by Tracy Hickman and Margaret Weiss. They weren't, writers of anything either that had been established, right? And so I guess that was sort of the tradition. And this sort of breaks. Even Battletech in the science fiction genre didn't have huge big names launching their series, right? It was a lot of people that I've never published before in the early areas, or people that had written me a novel or two here and there, but weren't well known, right? So that was sort of a common thing, right? And this was very, very different. And Timothy Zahn really has upped his A game, and so forth. And I definitely enjoyed going back and rereading this stuff for you folks. It's heavily influential. A lot of people were expecting this to get sort of the new Star Wars after being purchased by Disney and so forth. We're hoping that this trilogy might become the sequel to the original trilogy. It takes place about 4 or 5 years later. It's beloved stuff, and definitely I enjoyed it. But I don't think that suits the Disney brand and so forth. So they didn't do it, and this stuff was just turned around and made no longer canon. So it's just fun to read, but I still enjoy reading it. That's the important part. Is it good? Yes. All right, I'm going to go ahead and read it. Right. That's pretty cool. So there you are. I'll go ahead and leave you to it. Have you read it? If so, what did you think about it? Let's talk about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, let's talk about it. Like I said, in the comments below. If you like it, agree with it, 9 out of 10. Let's talk about that too. If you enjoyed this, why not hit that subscribe button? Because there's going to be a lot more of these to follow. And then finally, I just want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my video. Because we all have so much things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me, that's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.